The PlayStation 1 gave us giants like Final Fantasy VII, Chrono Cross, and Suikoden II, but what about the JRPGs that slipped through the cracks? Today, we're diving into 7 forgotten PS1 JRPGs that absolutely deserve a spot on your must-play list. Each one has something bold, a combat system you've never seen before, a story that rewrites the rules, or a genre mashup that just works. By the end, I guarantee at least one will have you hunting for a copy or firing up your emulator tonight. So here's the challenge. How many of these have you actually played? Keep count and drop your score in the comments.
Number 7. Moon Remix RPG Adventure. At first glance, Moon looks like just another quirky Japanese RPG, but it's actually the complete opposite. Released in Japan back in 1997, Moon calls itself an anti-RPG, and it means it. Instead of killing monsters, you rescue their souls. Instead of grinding for XP, you earn love by helping NPCs with their everyday problems. The story? You're sucked into a typical hero's journey, but you're not the hero. You're the bystander who sees the chaos left behind and decides to fix it. Moon flips every JRPG convention upside down. No random battles, no endless fighting, just exploration, puzzle solving, and a surprising emotional core. It was way ahead of its time, and for years it was stuck in Japan. In fact, it didn't even get an English release until 2020 on Switch. If you loved Undertale, this is basically its spiritual predecessor. Toby Fox has openly said Moon was one of his biggest inspirations. It's weird, it's warm-hearted, and it's nothing like the RPGs you grew up with, which is exactly why you should play it.
Number 6. Legend of Lega. Legend of Lega is one of those games that quietly did something genius, but barely anyone noticed. Released in 1998, it takes the standard turn-based combat and turns it into a fighting game combo system. Instead of just selecting attack, you input directional commands, up, down, left, right, to chain together special moves called arts. The more you experiment, the more powerful and cinematic your combos become. The world itself is wrapped in a thick, toxic mist that turns living things into monsters. Your mission? Destroy the mist by awakening ancient magical creatures called Seru, which also merge with your characters to give them new powers. On the surface, it's classic late 90s JRPG, but the combat keeps you hooked. Every battle feels interactive and rewarding because you're always trying to discover that next devastating combo. It sold well enough to get a PS2 sequel, but for some reason, it never became a household name. If you're tired of mashing the same menu commands in JRPGs, Legend of Lega will make every fight feel like a mini boss battle. Number 5. Threads of Fate. Threads of Fate might just be the most charming PS1 JRPG you've never played. Released by Square in 2000, it's an action RPG with 2 completely separate storylines. One for Rue, a shape-shifting warrior searching for a way to bring someone he loves back to life, and one for Mint, a spoiled princess with a serious attitude problem and a hunger for world domination. Same world, same events, but told from totally different perspectives. You'll see plot twists from angles you didn't expect, and it makes replaying the game feel fresh instead of repetitive. Combat is fast and simple, with Rue morphing into monsters he's defeated and Mint unleashing wild magic spells. The gameplay is accessible, but the storytelling is what really sticks with you. Despite coming from Square in their golden age, it got buried under bigger releases and was quietly forgotten. If you want something lighthearted but still full of personality, Threads of Fate is an underrated gem that deserves the second life. Number 4. Vagrant Story. If Threads of Fate is lighthearted, Vagrant Story is the complete opposite. A dark, brooding masterpiece that feels more like a political thriller than a traditional JRPG. Released by Square in 2000, this game ditched towns, party members, and random battles entirely.
You play as Ashley Riot, an elite agent caught in the tangled conspiracy involving assassins, cults, and ancient magic. The combat is real-time with a twist. You can pause mid-swing to target specific body parts for strategic damage, or chain together attacks with perfect timing for devastating combos. On top of that, it has one of the deepest weapon customization systems ever put in a PS1 game. The art direction is pure gold. Yasumi Matsuno, the mind behind Final Fantasy Tactics, gave it a gritty, realistic medieval style that still looks incredible today. Critics loved it, but its complexity and lack of traditional JRPG comforts kept it from reaching mainstream success. Vagrant Story is proof that the PS1 could deliver an RPG experience as intense and atmospheric as anything on modern consoles, and it still holds up 2 decades later.
Number 3. Shadow Tower. Before From Software became famous for Dark Souls, they were experimenting on the PlayStation with some truly strange and brutal RPGs, and Shadow Tower is one of their most forgotten creations. Released in 1998, it's a first-person dungeon crawler with zero handholding, zero maps, and a suffocating atmosphere that feels more survival horror than traditional JRPG. You're dropped into the mysterious Shadow Tower to rescue a friend, and every floor you descend gets weirder. Bizarre monsters, environmental traps, and a constant sense that the game is trying to break you. There's no XP system. Instead, your stats improve by finding special items, and your gear wears down with every hit, forcing you to constantly adapt. The visuals are dark and oppressive, the sound design minimal and unsettling, and it all works to make you feel trapped in a hostile alien world. Shadow Tower isn't for everyone, but if you love From Software's modern games, this is like peering into the DNA of what would one day become Demon Souls.
Number 2. Thousand Arms is what happens when a traditional JRPG crashes headfirst into a dating sim, and somehow it works. Released in 1999 by Atlas, it follows Mace Triumph, a womanizing blacksmith on a quest to stop an evil empire and maybe charm every eligible bachelorette along the way. The twist is that your relationships actually matter in combat. Going on dates, saying the right things, and building trust with your party members unlocks stronger magic and weapon upgrades. It's a clever system that makes the social side of the game just as important as the battles. Speaking of battles, they're turn-based, but with a unique twist. Only one character fights at a time, while others cheer and support from the sidelines, adding strategic layers to every encounter. Thousand Arms oozes late 90s anime energy, from its colorful art style to its over-the-top humor. It's funny, flirty, and completely unlike anything else on the PS1. It never got the attention it deserved, but for anyone who wants their JRPGs with a side of romance and comedy, Thousand Arms is unforgettable. If you thought Final Fantasy Tactics was tough, Hosigami Ruining Blue Earth will test every ounce of your strategy skills. Released in 2001, right at the tail end of the PS1's life, it's a tactical JRPG with deep customization, punishing difficulty, and a learning curve that scared off a lot of players. The game's standout feature is its Ready for Action Points system, where every move, from swinging your sword to simply turning your character, consumes precious action points. Mismanage them, and your units become sitting ducks for the enemy. On top of that, battles are long, deliberate, and every decision matters. You can train characters in multiple deity schools of magic, giving them unique abilities and stat boosts, but choosing the wrong path can cripple your strategy later on. It's not the friendliest game for newcomers, but for hardcore tactical RPG fans, Hosigami offers a depth and challenge most PS1 titles never dared to touch. Sadly, its late release and steep difficulty kept it in obscurity, but if you're craving a real strategic workout, this hidden gem delivers. And there you have it, 7 forgotten PS1 JRPGs that prove the console's library goes way beyond the usual classics. From the heartwarming weirdness of Moon to the brutal strategy of Hosigami, each one offers something you won't find in the big-name titles. The best part? Most of these still hold up today, and some even have fan translations, re-releases, or ways to play on modern hardware. So, how many of these have you actually played? Was it 0, 1, all 7? Drop your score in the comments, and while you're there, tell me your favorite underrated PS1 RPG that didn't make the list. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because next time we're tackling the forgotten gems of the PS2 era. Until then, keep your save files safe and never stop exploring.